everyone, this is Anna Carter from Rose River Way Studio, and I'm here for this week's watercolor tutorial, 5-minute watercolor tutorial. So this week I thought maybe we would try doing some citrus fruits, some limes, lemons, grapefruit, that kind of thing. So this should be fairly simple. We're going to do a pretty loose style. So I'm going to start with the wet brush, as I always do. This is a size 5 that I'm using. I usually like to start with a larger brush first. Helps me loosen up a little bit. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to mix up some orange. I don't have any made already. I'm just mixing some red and yellow until I get a color I like. And okay, so I've got a fun color, and I'm going to focus on the inner part of a orange that is cut in half. So I'm going to start on the outer edge where it's going to be a little fatter, and I'm going to pull it in slowly towards the center, and I'm lifting up pressure on my brush as I do that. So I'm going to paint the next little segment here. We're looking at a orange that's cut in half. And it's usually, I find it easier to start on whatever edge, no matter what you're doing, to start where it's fatter. So I try to start on the outer edge here, trying to keep my proportions correct. And you can see I'm leaving some white spaces between each of these segments, and that's not getting wet. If I let those touch each other, then they will bleed and make it a little bit Mod Podgey. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what I'm saying. Okay, so now I've got my basic segments. Now just to add a little bit more character to them, I'm going to go get some red, and I'm just going to poke some red in the outer edges here. And by doing this, I might end up making it look more like a grapefruit, which is fine with me. And so because that's wet on wet, that color will just seep all the way down through the wet areas. Okay, then I'm just going to do a little part in the middle here, and just the center area. And these outer edges aren't spreading quite as much as I want them to, so with a wet, clean brush, I'm just going to pull them in, a few of them in a little bit. So I'm pulling that red color in. Okay, now using the same orange, maybe I'll lighten it a little bit. I'm now going to draw the outer edge. So this is just a perfect circle, and you can see I'm trying not to touch the outer edges too much here. But it's okay if you touch them a little bit. It will give it a fun little bleed, and so sometimes I purposely do it. But as long as I'm leaving most of that with a white space around it, that gives it the illusion of the rind. Okay, great. Now let's do maybe a lemon next to it. So I'm just going to use pure yellow and do exactly the same thing. So, let's maybe do it over here. So I'm actually going to start with the outer edge. We'll see how this works. And I'm not touching my orange, or not touching it too much. And that will keep my yellow distinct. And each of these are focusing, each of the segments are focusing towards the center. I want to think about where my center edge is. And now I'm touching my orange a little bit, which is fine. Give it some character. Okay, great. So now I've got my little lemon piece here. And just to add a tiny bit more character, maybe I'll poke in just a very faint amount of orange into some areas of this, maybe into the rind a little bit. And, well, it's been 5 minutes, but I think we should do a lime anyway. So you get a bonus minute here. So let's do a lime. Right, another one behind here. And again, I'll kind of overlap. Just using plain old green. And do my segments. Turning inward. And if you want to dress these up more later, you can. Once it dries, you can add some layering to it. Maybe some little seeds. Or you can fill in some of that white space, give that kind of a faint tint. But there you go. So now we've got our citrus arrangement here. So that's kind of a fun, quick and easy, simple practice painting you can do, but it's a great summer one. So if you enjoy these little practice tutorials, go ahead and subscribe. I do one every single week. So I'll see you next time. Anna Carter from Rose River Way.